In this video, I would like to discuss how I came to embrace bodybuilding as a natural lifter. So when I first started exercising, I had heard of bodybuilding, but like many people, I sort of just associated bodybuilding with steroids. It wasn't something that I was ever really interested in. When I saw these photos of these bodybuilders, the likes of Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and whatever, they just looked like another species. They didn't even look human. They're freaks, they're giant. I knew that they were on steroids, and it just never really interested me. So I just sort of closed the door on bodybuilding from day one because I didn't know that there was a separate path to bodybuilding. I didn't know about natural bodybuilding. It wasn't on my radar. And so I just really discounted bodybuilding from the get-go. And so I started doing sort of functional training. I got into CrossFit, and then that eventually led me to start training for strength, which I really enjoyed. And all that finally led me to discovering people like Natural Hypertrophy on YouTube, and also Golden Era Bookworm is another very good channel that I like, where you can really see what is possible as a natural lifter to achieve in terms of your physique development. And it was much more than I was aware of. I thought that if you weren't doing drugs, if you weren't doing the steroids, then you weren't ever gonna look amazing. I thought if you wanted to look really, really good, really big and lean and whatnot, that you had to get on the steroids. And so I never thought about training for my physique. I only trained for strength. And a lot of people sort of fall into this rabbit hole where they just train for strength and the physique is just a byproduct. But then at the same time, you'll see people, doing their front double bicep or whatever, and they'll be posting their physique updates and their progress pictures on, Reddit or some other forum. And they'll be talking about their physique and, how well they've developed and how proud they are of the transformation they've made. And then you see that they're doing a powerlifting program or, 5-3-1 or whatever sort of strength program. I see this a lot where people are talking about their physique, yet they're doing a strength program. So a strength program is going to get you a certain amount of hypertrophy, obviously. There's no doubt about that, but it is most certainly not the most effective way to do it. And if you're natural, it doesn't mean that you can't train purely for bodybuilding. This took me a long time to realize, and in fact, even if you look at the early videos on this channel, it was all just me posting my 1-rep maxes over and over. And you could just think that this is some rookie powerlifter channel because that's what it looked like. And it wasn't until quite recently, actually, probably this year, where I truly started training as a bodybuilder. So the reason I had to make that transition is because I sort of came to a crossroads. So I was just sort of making up my program as I went along. I came to the gym and just trained hard and lifted heavy, and whatever happened, happened. And since I was new to lifting heavy, my strength and my physique, they both progressed linearly very well. They both just went up over time. Month after month, I was getting stronger and I was getting bigger. But very quickly, they both plateaued, and that's when I came to a crossroads and I had to decide where I'm going to be taking my training. So if I wanted to continue to increase my strength, then I would have had to get on some kind of powerlifting program, and maybe slowly over time I would have added on more muscle as well, but it would have been focused on the 1-rep max, on the powerlifting, and it wouldn't have been focused on the bodybuilding. At the same time, I could have gone on a bodybuilding program, which is what I did. I made my own bodybuilding program. But even though that is developing my muscles and my physique is continuing to make progress, my 1-rep max lifts, I'm not practicing them, I'm not programming for them, and they have completely stalled. And the very rare occasion that I do try and max out, I have made very little progress over the last 6 months. Whereas if I would have trained on a powerlifting program, I would have probably made significant progress over the last 6 months, but my physique would not have evolved as much as it has. So all of this is basically just to say that if you're natural, it doesn't mean you need to train for strength. You can train for strength, and that's great, or you can train for calisthenics if that's what you enjoy, or you can, do functional training, whatever it is, or sports-specific training. If that's what you enjoy, then that's great, and the hypertrophy benefits and the physique can just be a happy, consequence of that. It could just be an accident. But even as a natural, you can specifically decide which direction to take your physique. You can decide how you want your body to look, what shape you want your muscles to have. And there's absolutely nothing wrong. And in fact, I encourage anyone who is interested in bodybuilding to look into it and to try it out. And even as a natural, you can do it. You don't need to just get stronger in order to get bigger. It's not necessarily like that. And I think a very good example of that is if you look at a guy called Jeffrey Verity Schofield. I hope I pronounced that name right, but he's got a very good channel on YouTube. And if you look at his physique, he is monstrous. I mean, he's very big. It's still natural looking and a very pleasing physique. I really like the way he looks. But he's not some mass monster alien out of this world. He looks great and he looks natural. But he's not that strong. He's, in fact, not even that much stronger than me, but he's way bigger than me. So that's the thing. You don't need to train for strength if that's not your primary goal. You need to think about what your goals are. Are your goals increasing your squat, bench, and deadlift numbers? Is that your number one goal? Because if it is, then great. Do your powerlifting program, do your strength program. That's going to work well for you. But if your primary goal is to develop your physique and put muscle on, and you don't really care about the strength numbers, you don't really care about how functional your strength is, then you need to focus on bodybuilding and you need to figure out your programming based around bodybuilding and your specific hypertrophy goals. And you can do all of that as a natural without injecting steroids. So that's pretty much the message I'd like to give out today. I hope you found that useful, and thank you for watching. See you next time.